Sky Squad, we are back in the building, okay? Well, we back in the building, but I think I'm probably in the air flying right now as you guys are watching this. But I still had to give y'all this Love and Marriage Huntsville recap, okay? So we gonna make it do what it do while we can make it do what it do. And we got a lot to talk about because, baby, this episode gave me what I needed, okay? I hope it gave what you needed as well. Okay. So we are still in episode what? Five, I mean, episode 2 of season 5 or 4B. I don't know. But we somewhere, okay. On the DVR last week, it said season 5. So I'm gonna call it season 5, episode 2. Okay, it's called Marceau. It ain't so. Okay, I guess that's Marseille. It ain't so. I'm like, have y'all used that name before, or did I get the title wrong? I don't know. I have to go back and look. Y'all let me know in the chatterization down below. Okay, so I want to know in the chatterization what you guys would rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. For those of you guys who are new here, we always rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. We go 1 being the lowest. I don't think I've ever given a video a 1. I know other people say that I'm kind of lenient sometimes, but again, I'd be so ecstatic that I actually have shows to review that, I mean, sometimes I give points just for that. Okay, did you make a show? Yeah, okay, I'll give you 3 points for that. Okay, but that's how I do it. You ain't got to do it like that. You can rate on your rating scale, and I want you to tell me what your rating scale is and why. Now, for me, I would have given this episode a 10, but I'm kind of over them being away in the Tennessee area. So I think I'm going to have to give it a 9, okay? Because I'm like, are we still in Tennessee? Like, every scene, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, we still here. It'd be like one of them cast trips. You'd be excited when they go, but then you'd be like, wait, it's 4 episodes of cast trip. Wow. I mean, how? How, Sway? I mean, can we get back to something else? Because to me, I like when the cast is able to mix it up. And right now, we're not seeing some of the extra people like the Stormies, like the Destinies, like the Miss Wandas. And I feel like they add a different element to the show that's oftentimes necessary as equally as the main cast. Okay. But don't get me wrong, the main cast always delivers, okay? Especially in this episode. And we're going to get to the parts that I was most entertained by. All right. So, anyway, let's first things first. We start off with Dr. Francis, okay, confronting confronting the Whitlows and basically saying that everything is not what it seems to be with them. And so, they want to know, well, why you say that? And he's like, well, when we talked about the games that people played earlier, he was like, when your game was discovered, then the next trick is then to no longer play the game. And it raises questions about the interpersonal relationships within their marriage because of the inconsistencies in the stories that they tell. One minute, Tiffany is telling Kimmy that she wants a baby, and Lewis is not on board. They get to the retreat, and suddenly he's aboard. Okay, he's on the ship. He's steering the ship. He is guiding the Titanic to what? Wait, the Titanic sank. Well, never mind. Another ship, a rowboat, some type of boat. He is guiding it. Okay, he is rowing and paddling while Tiffany, works on her. Tiffany's at work right now. You know what I'm saying? But she ain't really got time to be bothered with much. Anyway, so it raises questions about their interpersonal relationships within their marriage. And they, in their confessionals, do not respect his opinion or his credentials because they are the Whitlows and they know best. And did you know Lewis is a philosopher? I forgot about that. Lest ye forget, he is a philosopher because he's read some books. Meanwhile, the next morning, Marceau is making breakfast. I love a good egg and bacon moment. And Lewis comes in and he downplays what Dr. Francis has said last night. And Tiffany strolls in and she says that she didn't know she was on this retreat to be came for in the way that she was. Okay. So Letitia, she rolls in and she asked them how they think it went. And Lewis thinks that, he and Tiffany are grounded in their marriage, but it does make him think about certain things in a certain way, but he's not going to just change all of a sudden because somebody came in and read him for filth for 6 minutes. Okay. So anyway, Letitia realizes that Lewis isn't taking any of this in. And I'm like, girl, no, because he's a philosopher. So anyway, Lewis wants to talk to them about their confrontation from the last year's reunion. You know, when him and Marceau went at it because Marceau confronted him about Lewis and Tiffany judging Letitia and Marceau's relationship so harshly after barely knowing them. Okay. Lewis wants to make sure that they apologize face to face with Tiffany and Letitia there. And Marceau says in his confessional, yeah, after Dr. Francis pulled a Lewis on Lewis, now all of a sudden he wants to apologize. How convenient. But for Marceau, the best apology is changed behavior. And thus far, he don't know if he's seen it. Okay. So what he does do in real time is he asks him, he says, how does it feel to be diagnosed as fake by a professional? Baby, Marceau, to me, now that I feel like I understand Marceau's game, Marceau is probably one of the best men on reality TV because he gives what needs to be given in every scene and online and at the reunions. Okay. I just felt like, yes, I was like, ooh, give it to Lewis right now. How does it feel to be diagnosed as fake by a professional, Mr. Philosopher? Okay. I was living for it, baby. I was living for it. So as Marceau cackles to himself, Maurice and Kimmy roll in wearing the shirts provided by Dr. Francis. Now, you guys may notice that, you know, the Scott's families are wearing the shirts and the Whitlows are not, thus showing their lack of participation or even belief or camaraderie in the group weekend that they're supposed to be participating in. Because, you know, I'm sure Tiffany probably got to work and, you know, Lewis is thinking about things because he's a philosopher. But anyway, Tiffany is annoyed that Dr. Francis is apparently late for whatever session they're supposed to, you know, be starting or whatever. And so Kimmy and Maurice then take the time to confront them as well. Kimmy says, y'all give a lot of advice, but y'all don't want to receive much advice from a professional at that. And so Lewis is like, for somebody to come in and dissect me in 6 seconds and say my marriage is a game. And Kimmy's like, you did it to Marceau. Boom. Mic drop. I would throw this mic off the thing, but you know, I'm not trying to buy another one. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, you did, Lewis. You did it. And he ain't got nothing to say. And Kimmy continues, y'all quick to give advice, but you don't want to hear none. And even as Lewis is saying, yeah, I hear you. Okay. Marceau says, see, it's your tone and your energy when you talking. It's like saying, yeah, I hear you. Okay, go ahead, shut up. And then, or saying, yes, you know what? I hear what you're saying, and really taking it in and understanding it. And Lewis is giving dismissive energy as well as Tiffany. And so they are calling them out on it in real time. And I am here for it. Okay. So Kimmy has to take it a step further and say, Tiffany, you told me previously that you wanted kids and Lewis was not on board in that conversation. But all of a sudden you get here and it's totally defensive, and Tiffany is still being defensive about this whole situation because she says that she felt like, well, I don't really feel like Dr. Francis actually cared about us individually as a couple. I'm like, girl, why would you feel like he doesn't care about you? Do you think that he just picked you and Lewis out of names out of a straw hat and said they're my targets for the weekend? No, the man is a marriage counselor, therapist, something or other. I don't know what he is, but he does something with the couples and he makes some things work. So at the very least, you might want to have some things start making some things work, because quiet as it's kept, you've been complaining about this man all last season. So it would seem to me, and he's been complaining about you. So it would seem to me that y'all might want to shut your mouths, sit back and listen to what the man got to say. Listen, I hope y'all don't think that I am coming at these Whitlows because I don't like them. That is not it. What I am saying is that in terms of the level of transparency and what the relationships and the people on this show who were previously on it, the comeback group gives, Lewis and Tiffany, I don't know if they feel like they given more and they really not giving what was supposed to be gave, but they're not giving what was supposed to be gave. I don't know what they're giving, but it doesn't feel authentic, or at least I'm not receiving it as such. Now, again, I don't know what these people are like behind closed doors because that's their marriage, and every marriage is different. All I'm telling you is what we see on the screen and what we see in the conversations on the screen, and that's all I can go by. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I have been watching reality television long enough, okay? I have done it myself, so I can surely tell you, along with a lot of you viewers out there who also can recognize, because we have been watching reality TV for almost 2 decades now, we know when people are not giving us the real. We know it. And we know that when people aren't giving us the real, the longer they are on a show, the more their actual personalities and personas will creep out, despite what they try to present on the screen. So when I say that, I'm saying this to say, Whitlow's, reality TV requires that you give your everything. Okay. There is not, listen, you ain't got to tell all your secrets or nothing like that, but it requires you to have complete honesty, live completely in the moment that you are living in, and actually give people what they want to see. Now, I know y'all might hear the buzzing outside. I cannot help that they have chosen right now at this very second to trim a tree, okay? I am very angry about it. It is taking everything in me not to open this window and throw one of these lights out there at this person. But I am not that type of person. I will not do it, even though I really want to throw the light at this person. I'm like, you chose right now to cut a tree. It was almost as though you knew I was working, okay? Maybe y'all can't hear it, but I can, and it is annoying the F out of me. But I'm going to continue on. Yes, I is. Okay? So anyway, Maurice has to call it out, okay? Maurice is like, if you are saying to me that the man didn't care about y'all, but he was able to speak into y'all so much so that he brought y'all to tears last night, it don't really, that's, it's, I mean, the math ain't mathing for me, okay? So they feel like, the group feels like, well, and if you felt like Dr. Francis really didn't care about you at all, you didn't say it in the moment. That's another thing that you have to do on reality TV is you cannot wait days later or a day later or then complain about something later that you should have, could have, and did not say in the moment, okay? So Kimmy calls it again. She says the energy last night was, oh, we got everything figured out, okay? And then she asked them, if you don't feel like a licensed therapist can help them, I mean, what you here for? So they huffing, they still huffing and puffing. They still ain't getting it, okay? And Kimmy calls that out too. She's like, the energy that y'all are giving us right now, even as we are trying to speak some wisdom into you, you guys are being dismissive of it, and you're not taking any of it in. And Maurice says, y'all must not value this man as a professional. Okay, that must be why y'all not heeding this man's advice. So in their confessional, they say, the Whitlows, they say that they feel attacked. Oh Lord, they done came after us in our marriage. They done discovered our secrets. Oh no. Lewis feels like his wisdom, because he is a philosopher, outweighs Dr. Francis, who is a professional. Okay. He know better, okay? So Maurice has to break it down. The man is qualified to do what he does. Bottom line is, if y'all want a different outcome in y'all situation, then y'all need to bring some different kind of energy, because right now they're bringing, we not trying to hit nothing, y'all trying to say energy, period, point blank. We move on to Melody meeting with Martell's mom to try to mend the relationship. Now they start off pleasant. It's a very southern. This scene to me, is part of the reason why I gave this episode a 9, because when I tell you Miss Melody Holt put Melody Cherie put on a show and Miss Mama did not back down, baby. This was good. And see, I love when I see there is nothing better than two Southern women sitting down for a slightly passive aggressive Ponderosa, baby. I was living for it. This is why I watch, well, one of the reasons why I watch reality TV. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. So she's meeting up with his mom to try to mend the relationship. They start off pleasant, they die, and then they dive right in. Melody didn't appreciate what was said by Miss Marlene when Miss Marlene said, that Melody was just laying around while Martell worked his fingers into the grind, and she felt like Melody was gonna put that man in an early grave. Okay, that's what she had said, and she felt like Melody was just laying around. And in my opinion, I felt like she felt like Melody was laying around eating bonbons, bossing Martell around, and letting the kids run rampant through the house. That's what it came across like to me, okay? And Melody didn't appreciate it, okay? And so we learned also, too, that Melody, hold on. You know what? Because I had to take a screenshot of this. I got to find it. Hold on. I got it for y'all. I got the receipts, okay? We got receipts, baby. We got receipts. And I'm about to pull it up for you right now. So Melody, in her state of anger, hold on for a second. I got to do a screenshot of this, and I got to do some rejigging of this whole situation. So y'all just bear with me real quick. See, the thing ain't even live, and I'm not gonna edit this not one bit because I want y'all to see this, because if it was live, this is what will be going on anyway. So you might as well be privy to what's happening and how I moves when I need to move. Okay. Now I don't know why this thing ain't downloading, but it needs to download. Here you go. Okay, here go the text messages right here. Let me pull them up. Give me 1 second. Okay, so when she saw that scene, Melody sent her a message that said, "Your son is a liar. You have upheld Martell for a very long time and not made him take responsibility since day one. Been nothing but good to you and fair when it came to you. Y'all enjoy and do what y'all do. Don't text back because I'm blocking you too." Oh my God, I did not know that this is what Martell was referring to, that Melody has sent his mama, okay? Melody was on one that day. She said, "Not today. You will not play me on national television and call me lazy. That is what you won't do, okay? Y'all enjoy and do what y'all do. Don't text back because I'm blocking you too." Yo, I didn't even realize it rhymed. Meanwhile, okay. Melody tells her, I had to remove that negative energy, and it hurt her that Miss Marlene said she was gonna, Melody was gonna put him in the grave while she was just laying around eating the bonbons. So Mel asked, okay, because I said the same thing last week. I said maybe Martell was telling Miss Marlene these things. So Mel asked if Martell actually told her that, and because that would have made sense to Melody, because Melody was thinking, well, she couldn't have thought this on her own. She couldn't have said it on her own. Miss Marlene looks at her and says, "No, girl, I said it."
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I said, "Miss Marlene," oh my God, I screamed. I literally screamed. I was like, and first of all, if you watch this show, you will know Miss Marlene is just as polite, Southern, sweet. But when she said it, she was like, "I said what I said, and I'm not taking it back." That's the energy she gave, okay? she continues and she says, Melody, you were spoiled. He had you spoiled. And I said, you're going to put my baby in the grave and you was being lazy. And Melody is shocked, okay? Miss Marlene then tries to kind of soften the blow and say, well, you know, kids will make you lazy. And so then Melody gets sassy and she says, yeah. When I was with Martell, I wasn't doing nothing. I was just sitting around. I was laying in the bed. I was eating bonbons, bossing this man around. I ain't do nothing for him. I ain't do nothing with them kids. I was just laying around. I mean, Melody was giving me a show. Even Miss Marlene had to laugh. Okay, she was like, "Now I ain't say all that. I ain't say all that." And Melody's like, "Yes, you did." Miss Marlene says, well, you was a little lazy, but it's okay. I guess if I was having children like that, I would have been lazy too. Melody can't even do nothing but laugh at this point. And so she tells Miss Marlene that she had a conversation with Martell talking about what Miss Marlene had said. And he said, remember how, you know, Miss Marlene used to say to both of them that they were both doing too much and they need to sit down somewhere. And Melody says there are times when as a husband and a wife where he did for her and then she did for him, and he did for her definitely, especially after she would have a child. He said he understood and remembered when she reminded him. And Miss Marlene says, well, you know, that's all right. I still remember you used to lay around saying Martell this and Martell that. Okay. And Martell, and he just did everything. And I said, she gonna put my boy in the grave. I said what I said. It's done and it's a new day. First of all, baby, let me tell you something. I live for somebody that stands 10 toes down in what they say on these shows, okay? Miss Marlene was polite. She never raised her voice, neither did Melody. But the fact that Miss Marlene was not backing down, I said, you know what? At the end of the day, even Melody, she just had to just kind of say, you know what? I'm just going to let you have this one for the sake of the fact that I absolutely do care about you. You're my mother-in-law. You were my mother-in-law. You are the kid's grandmother. You know, there is genuine love there between both of them. And they just decide that they are going to let bygones be bygones and move forward. And Melody is going to unblock the woman. But this scene, baby, it was my favorite moment of the episode. But now we back in Tennessee. Tennessee. And so anyway, if you know that song, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, back to the retreat. They head out to the fire pit for a heart-to-heart moment. The Whitlows go first. Basically, let me give you guys the gist of the scene because I don't even feel like reading from my notes. Dr. Francis is finally able to pull some real emotion out of the Whitlows, or at least Lewis, because he asked him about the losses that Lewis has faced in his life and what those losses have meant to him and what he did in those situations. And it really does allow Lewis an opportunity to somewhat open up, you know, shed some tears. Tiffany's there for him. And then the group begins to open up. And Letitia and Marcel talk about losing, you know, her friend that she, I guess, went to college with. And the husband was also at Maurice's wedding. It was just kind of a very, you know, sad, sad moment. And I wrote in my notes, I so love this show. Over at Martell's house, he's chatting with his mom. You know, he's got the increased productivity to fulfill all these orders for the wines. Have y'all ordered any of the Inez wine? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a taste testing. You know what I'm saying? When I get back from my trip. And we're going to do a taste testing of chocolate in a bottle. And we're going to do a taste testing of Inez wine. I will give you guys a disclaimer that I am not a wine connoisseur. I am no type of sommelier. I don't even really like wine, to be quite honest with you. But I'm willing to support the Black man and what he is trying to do to support his family and, do the doggone thing, right? So we're going to do a little tasting, okay? So hopefully you guys will have your Inez wine by the time we all get back, and well, at least me, and then we can all, do this thing together, okay? And if I don't like the wine, then I'm just going to have the rest of the chocolate in the bottle, and we're going to call it a day. Meanwhile, anyway, Miss Marlene tells him that she had a Ponderosa with Melody and that it went okay, and he's happy. Boom. Back in Tennessee. Oh, my God, are we still here? Okay. Lewis and Tiffany recap this session. She thinks that he's ultimately a tough guy, but he sometimes he masks what he's feeling, and a lot of this goes back to his dad not being there for him when he was growing up. And we learned that he's confronted his dad, and now his dad is there for him. And he does admit in his confessional, she admits in her confessional that she doesn't want to be so busy that she ends up reflecting the things that Lewis's father did by not being there for those important moments for him. So then Dr. Francis meets with Marceau and Letitia, and this is an interesting conversation. Really, the issue with Martell and Letitia is that their marriage was great up until the point where they got on this show. And at that point, they started getting all these messages from outside of their marriage that came into their marriage and caused problems, i.e. Miss Wanda hearing things on the streets, Martell talking about the 20 women's and whatnot. And then we get into this conversation about how, Letitia has just, she recognizes that she needs to be submissive to her husband and listen to what he says and trust his wisdom. And Dr. Francis has cocked his head a little bit like, huh? And so then Marceau says, well, I don't make decisions unilaterally or whatever. And I don't know, for me, I guess whatever works for their relationship, I guess maybe that is what you would call a very traditional style relationship. I don't really know. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Again, after my interview with her, I felt like I got a better understanding of her as a person. And she seems like a very sweet, girl who wears her heart on her sleeve, which I love about her, because I do think that it makes for a great narrative arc on a television show as we see her grow and blossom into a different person. But at the same time, some of these, I just feel like listen, y'all tell me what the roles should be in those types of relationships, because we need to go talk about Maurice and Kimmy and this scene right here. Okay. Now, this scene to me gave me, this is Maurice's face during this entire conversation. I kid you not. I kid you not. So basically, the question comes up about how much relations is excessive, right? So Maurice felt like that as a reward for coming on this trip, he should be granted relations twice a day, even while they're filming, probably while the cameras are still there. I really don't know. But what I do know is he wants all the relations anytime he wants it. He feels like his partner should never tell him no. Okay. And Kimmy is like, well, here's the thing. After the relations are over, Maurice is going to lay in the bed while I have to go cook, clean, meal prep, and do all of these other things, because he feels like these are not things that a man should be doing. So he's just laying around doing absolutely nothing while she is running the house and running around, completing all the tasks and being, just momming it up, cooking, cleaning, and all kinds of other things. And so at the end of the day, Dr. Francis has to tell him, you do realize that a woman has a right to her own body. Okay. She is not just simply a blow up doll for you to utilize for your intimate satisfaction. Okay. And Kimmy and Maurice say that he knows that, but it don't be sounding like it, okay? And Dr. Francis essentially tells Maurice, listen, maybe if you did a little bit more, as in contribute to some of these household things, she might be more willing to give you more in the bedroom, because she won't have so much to do on her plate. Why don't you help lighten her load a little bit before you start asking about loading her up? Okay, how about that? And he says you need to start treating this your intimacy as something more than just your pure satisfaction, and something more along the lines of the two of you enjoying a life together and experiencing something special together. And because intimacy is not purely just for yo, satisfaction.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.